Okay, by my count, I've got 5 o'clock. I'm at the request of Linda. She's asked me to go ahead and run the meeting through the agenda for her tonight just to help work through this virtual experience. So with that being said, I'd like to call the September 17th, 2020 school board meeting to session. I'd like to start. I'm going to bring up our flag, and we won't stand for the pledge, but if we can just take a little moment of silence, that would be excellent. Great, thank you. Okay, at this time, I'd like to ask for approval of the agenda. If I can get a motion to approve tonight's agenda, there are no items to be added. Looks like Wendy made the motion and Bev second the agenda. Okay, all those in favor say aye or raise your hand. Okay, 4-0, we're ready to get started here. I don't believe there are any patrons joining us tonight. Tonight we do have actually we need to approve the board minutes from August 20th. Is there any questions or discussions from the board, or can I get a motion to approve those minutes? Rhonda, make a motion, and Wendy with the second. Any discussion on the minutes from August 20th? Nope, okay. Seeing none, we'll move right on into our first presentation. Bear with me here. I'm going to bring this up. Mr. Winkle did record this for us in advance, and I'm going to go ahead and play that, and then we'll allow the board the opportunity to ask Mr. K.I.S. and Mr. Winkle any questions they may have about the start of our school year.
This afternoon. Just to kind of give you an overview of how the school year has been going here at Northside. I'm going to start with our school survey, and I'll show you each one of the questions. You'll get a chance to see each one of the questions, and I'll give you just a brief overview of those questions, what we found out. So our first slide here, the staff survey says, we ask about how you're feeling about the start of the class, grade level, and also then school-wide. And overwhelmingly, we were very happy. Nate and I were very happy with the answers to this. The staff is having a good start, and so there's always a few outliers here and there, but overall we've had a good start, and the teachers feel the same way. What challenges are you facing? The biggest challenge right now is just the change in procedures and protocol with COVID. Then also stepping up our virtual game. You know, virtual last year was maintaining, and this year we're growing our students. So those are a couple things that, you know, are challenges right now. But we're working through those. What solutions and ideas? Well, we had a meeting with virtual teachers, and they've had a chance to share some of their thoughts and ideas and different things that they're doing. And through that conversation, then there's been some good ideas come forefront on that, and some implementation, and it's helping with the virtual piece at least. The other thing is just sometimes it's good to know that, you know, you're not the only one that might be struggling at this time. Talking about the help that they need really is each other to kind of lean on, keep each other, you know, picked up, encouraged on, and then also some time. We talked about how to build a little more time back into our schedule with what we have. Where they've felt successful so far really has become the virtual piece, how we've gone from maintaining to a growth mindset. And then I can share with you that the lessons that we looked at virtually, they're fantastic. They really are. The teachers have stepped up and done a really nice job with their lessons, and I could not be more proud. Also the lessons then in the building itself, teachers are just really happy to get their kids back, and we needed to do that. We asked the teachers had they had any chance, had a chance to start any Project Lead the Way work yet. Not the majority of us have not. And now the flip side of that, the next question, have you started any LIM lessons? Yes, we have. Leader and Me lessons are moving along nicely. We have some professional development scheduled already this year for Leader and Me, which is, this is our year for the academic piece to Leader and Me. So it's an important part of the process, and we're moving forward with that. We're also discussing, I'm having conversations with the leadership team with the Project Lead the Way. We're looking at maybe a unit per semester for each grade level. So that's not, you know, we're kind of a neutral on the Project Lead the Way, but we're getting ready to put things into drive with that. So pretty pleased with that part of it so far. Some other successes that we're having. The pod system that we created to bring kids back, where we keep kids in classes and pods together, it's working. We've had some COVID cases in the school, and because we're in the pod system, the school can continue to run, and it's worked real well for us. Also in that pod system, we've seen a decrease in our office referrals. And I think some of that is that we're keeping kids in smaller groups where they're not meeting with the whole grade level. They're staying at the class level. But we have seen a reduction in office referrals as well. The breakfast and lunch, I will tell you that that's probably the area that caused me the most angst over the summer as to how to get all that worked out. And then you throw in a recess with that, lunch, breakfast, recess. Those were really the areas that I had more worry about than any of the other areas. Surprisingly so. I really didn't expect it to worry that much. But I will tell you this. The lunch ladies, the lunch staff, Trella, Diana Loomis, I will tell you that they have absolutely risen to the occasion and put a great plan together, and it has been fantastic. You know, messes, I know there was a worry about some messes, but the lunch ladies have been on top of this. We've had a spilled milk, and Scott was able to, you know, help us show the ladies how to get that cleaned up. And really, for the most parts, the breakfast and lunch staff are taking care of that, and I'm very pleased so far with that. And once again, I think, you know, having lunch in small groups has cut down on some of the referrals as well. The virtual lessons are, they've just blown me away. When I look at the lessons and how teachers have put things together with their Google Slides and embedded their lessons, and then it's been awesome. I couldn't ask for anything better. And then the teacher readiness is excellent as well. So now the other areas of success are students. They're wearing their mask. I will tell you that I couldn't ask for any better kids in regards to them wearing their mask. Now, they occasionally lose their mask. And so for me to tell you tonight that we haven't given out many masks, I can't say that. We've handed out several, and we continue to do that. Now I'm working with, you know, I've shared with the kids that if they, you know, if they lose their mask, then, or don't come in the morning with their mask, that, you know, there could be some consequences for that, but there really hasn't been any yet. So they've handled the new procedures, the flexibility that they've had to be able to, that they continue to show. We have the playground. We have the north playground divided up into 4 sections. The south playground's divided up into 5. And I will tell you, I've been out on both playgrounds, and the kids are doing a nice job with that. Now, do they occasionally want to talk to each other, you know, another pod to another pod? Yeah, we just have to keep an eye on that and make sure that they're standing apart, have their mask on, things of that nature. And then I will tell you that the program, the lunch program, that the National School Lunch Program, that Trella and Dinah have worked on, that's been awesome. Where our kids get free breakfast and lunch. And so that's a very positive thing for us. And it's also taken a lot of the worry about kids entering lunch numbers and things of that nature. And so that worry has kind of left the table. I'm very thankful for that. And then our Northside families, the flexibility, readiness, and responsiveness, as much as sometimes we get a little frustrated with families, they have supported us. And I will tell you that Julie Cornell, our school nurse, has just been amazing, doing such a great job with working with our families. When we do have COVID worry or a COVID situation, she's been able to make some phone calls for her to, I think that her voice, her knowledge, I think that's the real reason that the parents are really appreciative of that phone call, and then for her to be able to answer the questions that they have in regards to COVID. I think it's been a real comfort for them, and they've been flexible with us. They've been willing to work with us, and really the response overall has been a good response. So just kind of to sum things up, we've had a really good start in light of the situation and the way that the table really was set for us before we started the school year. But we had a good plan. And I appreciate Aaron's leadership in all this, and then also the responsiveness and input from the admin team. Overall, I've been pleased, and our plan's working. Overall, our teachers have risen to the occasion, and we've had a good start. Now, do we have some hiccups here and there? Absolutely. Have we had to make some adjustments? We sure have. But we've had a really good start. And I also want to thank you as a board for your support and continued support. So if you have any questions or any concerns, or you need some more information, just stop in the office or drop me an email, get a hold of Nate, whatever, and we would be happy to get those answered. Appreciate this time this evening, and have a good one.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Winkle. And for those of you that saw me flip upside down during that, I have no idea what happened. I wasn't doing cartwheels, but it did happen. So with that, board, do you have any questions for Mr. Winkle and Mr. K.I.S.S? I see they're both on here. If you have questions or comments on the start of the school year, now would be a good time to make them. Just make sure you unmute that microphone. So I'll give you just a couple seconds here to respond.
Great job to both of them, and thank you for Northside getting this year off to a great start.
Yep, thank you, and thank you for that, Mr. Winkle. It's kind of interesting with the loom, and you're seeing the announcements that they roll out every day. I know that Mr. K.I.S. kind of got that rolling, but Mr. Winkle, I'm not going to say an old dog, new tricks, but that's kind of what he learned, and it's pretty impressive. So Mr. Winkle, good job. Thank you so much. All right, gang, we will move into Mr. Adams' presentation here. Neil, if you want to unmute your microphone, I will turn my camera off, and you just kind of share with me when you're ready for me to move on into your slides.
Okay, we're ready. Okay, like Mr. Winkle, we did a similar survey with our staff and taking the pulse that goes on in a daily briefing. The first question was, how are you feeling, or how things are going? Obviously, it's a much different year for us because we're managing at least 2 different platforms or 3 different ways of trying to teach with our hybrid schedule and our virtual piece. We have teachers probably all over the board, some that are struggling daily, and it depends on the day, and I think sometimes how students are responding and just how things are going in life in general. Overall feeling, I think, with our teachers, we're probably fair, maybe a few below average, and then some above average. I think as we go by day and talking with them, I think they're starting to get into their groove, trying to improve things on a daily basis, and they're starting to get a little more comfortable with what they're doing. You can go on, Aaron, to slide 3. Okay, struggles and challenges and the solutions that we're working through. I think the biggest challenge is finding that and talking with the staff and then surveying them and just going in and out of the rooms is that balancing act with the virtual and the face-to-face. You know, we've got about 23% of our students that are virtual, so trying to provide that quality instruction better than last spring so that we're growing, as well as at the same time servicing those face-to-face kids. You know, finding that balance and also incorporating project work to those virtual kids, because that becomes a struggle of how do you do things in a lab class virtually and finding those resources. And we do have times where kids come and pick up those projects. Now, they don't always come pick them up, so we got to continue to communicate that and try to get those in the hands of the kids. But that balancing act just between the virtual and the face-to-face and trying to manage those two platforms are a struggle. And we've had a few meetings and trying to find collaboration between staff members and what works, what doesn't work. And I think some of them are starting to feel more comfortable about what they're doing. They've made some tweaks and made some changes, so that's a good thing. Time, that's always the case on any year, but just grading that and then finding the time to do those virtual lessons and prepping for those and putting those together. Connections, that's one of the biggest ones, I think. I don't know if anybody directly said that, but you can see it in the building. Just the normal interactions with colleagues. It's totally different and needs to be different this year because of the COVID that we're dealing with. And then that teacher-student interactions, you know, with masks, that makes it much different. And then, of course, some of the kids on the hybrid model aren't here every day, so the follow-up becomes more challenging. And we've tried to make solutions such as having Google Meets and Google Hangouts, just like we're doing here tonight, to help manage some of that. We're trying to continue to work through those solutions at finding ways to do that. But I think Jason would also say, he's sitting here with me tonight, that the building has a different feel for sure. It's not the hustle and bustle that we're used to. And that's just something that we'll have to continue to work on. And it may be that way for a while, just because I think as I heard on the news last night, people are having that pandemic fatigue. And for sure, I think we have the fatigue of that. Successes, you can go on, Aaron. Obviously, and I think Jason would definitely put kudos to this, that our discipline issues are way, way, way down.
Amen.
You know, he can say amen to that for sure. So that's been a very nice positive out of all of this, that some of the things that we might be worried about, I put on there mask compliance. The kids have been so great with that. I mean, we've had very few issues where we've had to have a kid and talk to a kid about wearing his mask. And we had big concerns about that going into the year, and I can't give them enough credit with how they've managed the wearing of the mask. That's awesome. The breakfast and lunch process, just the teachers, I have to give them kudos for helping us out the first 2 or 3 days of getting the seating charts done, and the kids have been very cooperative with that, sitting where they're supposed to sit, staying their distance and forward to a table. Really had no complaints on that, which goes to the next one of flexibility. The flexibility of the lunch ladies, our office staff, administrative staff at the elementary, our custodial staff, the teachers, the parents. It's just been phenomenal. So, you know, they've been able to adapt and resolve and be patient, which is all great. I think I told the teachers that the key word for this year is going to be flexibility, and I can't give them enough credit for their ability to be flexible and change and continue to find ways to improve what they're doing. One of the teachers put it best the other day, as students are gaining new skill sets. Out of all this, that may be a positive in the long run. They're doing things they've never been expected to do before, maybe at a much earlier age of being more responsible. So out of a bad thing, maybe we'll get some new skill sets and a positive that will come, because they're having to learn new management skills, new ways to be accountable, new ways to get work done, new time management skills, more independent work. Those are good things, I think, and down the road in life that they'll gain from that. Technology, our implementation of technology over the past 7 to 10 years has been a very big plus for us, because we are so far ahead of other schools that we're able to do some things that other schools can't have and not have those issues. And then I think a success is our lessons that are building towards growth. Unlike last spring where we're just trying to maintain, our teachers are really, really trying to hit it out of the park and to help our kids grow and improve on a daily basis. And I think we've had a couple cases here this year. I think our hybrid success, or hybrid model has been a little bit of a success. Instead of maybe 12 or 13 kids being quarantined, there might have been a couple times we might have been putting out 70 to 80 kids. So that's been a success as well. The last slide there, Aaron. And then just a couple upcoming events. Tomorrow night is our athletic senior night. That was originally homecoming week. We flipped that just so in case something would happen later on, we could at least try to get those seniors recognized in case the game down the road would get canceled. Next Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, we're having our National Honor Society induction and our Academic Jacket Awards presentation. We're having a limited amount of people at that, so we can still have social distancing and still honor those kids. And then we are planning some homecoming activities coming up here on October 5th through the 9th, I think we've got a decent plan in place working with Brad and student council. I think we've come up with something to still try to give the kids some activities and exposure to that and still do that safely. And then, of course, we got parent-teacher conferences coming up on October 13th and 14th.
And those conferences will be virtual conferences.
Yeah. And if you have any questions, we'd be glad to answer them at this time.
The board, do you have questions for Neil or Jason? I know that we've kind of had some conversations or questions about, getting back to a normal schedule. What are we going to gauge to, bring everybody back and those type of things? Obviously, the impact's been the greatest on that end as far as, again, the word flexibility. So board, do you have questions for Neil or Jason while they're still with us here?
I don't have any questions, but I'd like to really compliment the entire corporation on the can-do attitude, the flexibility. We can do this, we will do this, and by golly, we are doing it. And I'm just so proud of every single person in the corporation. And I want you to know that. Thank you.
I'd say the other thing that I'm thinking of is, because definitely what Linda said about how well everyone's doing, but just asking parents to help push their kids to come in and be involved, especially on that online, when they're doing the online days and getting projects done to help support what the teachers and staff are doing. So just remind them to help out.
And I'll just jump in and share. And Neil, Jason, and I, administrative team, our guiding coalition, have had discussions on, what benchmarks we're going to look at for bringing all the students back. Neil, Jason, and I will spend a lot of time the next 2 weeks together, really looking at COVID numbers. And where I sit right now, I can tell you it's not fun. It puts you in a bad situation. But looking at that and seeing if we need to make some tweaks, even if it's in our blended schedule. As far as getting maybe the kids there every other day, that's a comment the teachers have made, just so it's more constant as far as when they see them. Maybe building in some more virtual type days for everybody, so those virtual kids are experiencing same thing. So Neil, I don't know if you have anything to add to that, but those are definitely conversations that's going on with our administrative team and our teacher leaders at the junior senior high.
Yeah,
you have
a
anything to share?
teachers meeting on Tuesday. We'll talk about some of those same things. That there's a lot of layers that go into that. Maybe an every other day schedule if we stay on the hybrid, might be better because we'll see the kids more often, which might help remind them to get work done. Just keep them engaged more than seeing them maybe 3 or 4 days, and then you've got 4 or 5 days before you see them again. Or do we bring everyone back? There's a lot of things that go into that. If we do come everyone back, we need to be prepared that we may have more kids go virtual. So there's a lot of things over the next 2 weeks, like Mr. Black talked about, that we need to look at and consider and try to do what's best for our students. You got anything, Jason? Okay.
I was thinking that if they aren't, logging in and it's their red and blue day kids, that if they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, then just require them to come in every day. I understand the ones that selected virtual full-time, that's a different case, but, just have some consequences for not participating like they're supposed to. So,
Yeah, and I would say our virtual piece is the biggest work in progress. Our virtual only kids, at least with the red and blue kids, we do touch base with them in person throughout the week. I do like the idea of the every other day type of scenario because we'll see them more frequently. With anything, there's pros and cons. The biggest pro to coming back all of us every day is it'll help the students academically, I think, and it will also ease the burden on teachers from a planning perspective. But as my head spins and I try to contemplate this and think things through, student safety's got to be paramount on our list. And, so that concerns me to some degree. And also just the jump that we'll see in virtual students, because we have 92 now. That number will shoot up for sure. One issue will be they'll have to wear masks more often. They'll have to wear masks all day because we're going to pack 20, 25 kids in a classroom. And, there'll be kids that'll stay home or parents that will choose for them to stay home just for that reason. They won't want to wear the mask. And if we struggle a little bit with the virtual platform now, if we add 30 or 40 more kids to it, well, we're just going to compound the problem. So there's just a lot of, and you all know this, there's just a lot of factors that when it comes to any big decisions that you just have to consider and weigh all your options. And, I think we're getting there. A lot of teachers have said that it has gradually gotten better as the year's gone along. I think midterms might have been a wake up for some of our students, a wake up call for them. And, they do realize they have to work at home, when they're not here. I think as we make tweaks and adjustments along the way, we'll see more progress. So.
well, we appreciate all that you're doing.
Thank you.
And just kind of clarify in case somebody jumped in, and just that we are in the process of kind of engaging in what returning all the time looks like. We're not saying it's happening now or in 2 weeks or at any point immediately. It's just we're monitoring very closely academic success, and also paramount thing is safety. So Neil, Jason, thank you so much. Actually, Neil, can you stick around for just a minute after we get through claims approval? We'll have you talk about the field trip request.
Yep, will do.
Okay. All right. If there's no more questions from the board, we'll move on to our action items. Bev, do you have claims for approval this board meeting?
There, I couldn't get it to unmute. Sorry. Payroll claims 17 and 18, and then claims 65, 69 through 66, 43, and 90049 through 90054.
Great, thank you. Can I get a motion from the board to approve claims? Okay, we're going to go with Wendy on the motion, and we'll give Linda the second since Bev read it. So. All those in favor of approving the claims? Aye. Okay. All right. Moving on to personnel consent, or actually field trip items, and this has been a bit of discussion and good questions. Mr. Adams, can you kind of take over here and kind of share? You've been in conversation with Mr. Smith more so than I have been about the FFA SOAR conference on October 9th through 11th in Trafalgar, and kind of what that's going to entail.
Yeah, I can do that. Obviously, when he first came to me, I was like, almost my first thought was there's no way, because I just don't think that would be as safe. And then he brought back the plan from the state FFA association that works with the Department of Education and the Indiana Health Department. They've got a pretty solid plan in place, and that's why I went ahead and sent the recommendation on to Aaron to send to you, because I feel pretty comfortable about it. Normally, at some of those, being an ex-FFA advisor, that might be a 200, 300, 400 member event. They've really spread it out over 4 weekends and limited it to 100 people. In their cabins, they have a limit of how many students are going to be in a cabin, and it's going to be, they've got bunk beds, and it's 1 student per bunk bed, sleeping in alternate directions. They've got a limit of 4 students in a bathroom at a time that'll be monitored. Their lunch service and meal service is going to be like we would do here. They're going to limit 3 students per table, and they're going to have different lunch shifts, so there's not the total interaction with their staff, and the kids are less exposed. They'll have them in pod systems that they'll kind of travel around in their little leadership sessions, so they won't be exposed to all 100 kids at the time, kind of like our elementary's doing. There will be a health questionnaire that they have to fill out. They ask them, one of them's kind of funny to me, that it said, have in the past 6 months you traveled overseas. I guess that could be a possibility, but we know that travel's been restricted. But they've asked if you've been to any other state that's had high COVID numbers. Have you traveled in a cruise ship in the past 3 months? And then, of course, they ask, have you had COVID or are you feeling sick? All those questions. And then, of course, they have to take their temperatures and things before they actually come. And, of course, they'll have masks and social distancing. And they're asked to stay home if they're sick, of course. So I feel pretty comfortable about it, but ultimately the decision rests with you. Like I said, when he first presented the idea, knowing on our discussions on the admin team, I said there's just no way that I think we can recommend that. But I feel very confident in making that recommendation.
Yeah, so to the board, I will just kind of second that. This is not a recommendation that I kicked it back to Neil for conversation, and he dug into it a little bit deeper. And I do feel pretty good about the plan. I support Neil's evaluation of their plan. And the other great part of this is that it's a good time for our FFA members to go down and see Derek in an event that he is really largely putting together. Is that accurate, Neil?
That would be accurate. He's going to have a big part in conducting the leadership sessions and running that show down there that weekend.
Any discussion from the board?
I trust your decision. I mean, it sounds like everything is in place to be as safe as possible, so I have no problem with it.
All right. Well, if you don't mind, we'll go ahead and take a vote on that trip. We do have to have it approved since it's an overnight field trip. So if I can get a motion. Bev has a motion. Linda made a second. Any more discussion? All right. All those in favor say aye. Wendy, she did raise her hand. She's a little apprehensive, which we all understand. Trust we understand, Wendy, your stance, and it'll definitely be a group that we monitor when they come back. I mean,
That's
that cohort.
my concern.
If something was to happen, I mean, they would probably all go together, for lack of better words. So, yep. All right. Well, thank you, Neil. Next item I have here is employment. I got 4 positions here on the agenda. Melissa Hausberger, yearbook sponsor, Brad Hoggett, student council sponsor, which he is on it, already putting together good, safe homecoming plans. And then Kennedy Phillips as a Northside playground supervisor, and Courtney Stevens as a Northside instructional aide. So if I can get a motion to approve those positions. Wendy with the first. Can I get a second? Bev with the second. Any further discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor say aye. All right, thank you so much. Next item I have here is an update just for me, and it's an ADM update. Actually pushed out the agenda on Tuesday. Our ADM numbers today, and that we should be reporting tomorrow, is 875. Which is actually up from last year as enrollment, about 4 students, I think. I think we reported 871 on the 18th last year. So that's good news for us. It's a good sign that, some of the decisions we made didn't hurt our enrollment. So we're in pretty good shape there with our fall count, and that will be submitted first thing tomorrow morning. And I will share the enrollment summary with the board so you can see by grade level our numbers as soon as I get that from Mr. Davison tomorrow. So no action needed there. Does just an update on my behalf. I do have 4 action items that we need to kind of take care of and discuss. The first item on your agenda, I'm asking the board consider paying a one-time stipend to Mr. Merrill and Mr. Williams of $500 for their work this summer. I'm putting together graduations. Just a side note, I have spoken with Randolph Central and Randolph Southern, and they plan to do something for them as well because they went way above and beyond to make those situations special for 3 school corporations. So I'm just asking that the board entertain that. Can I get a motion? Wendy makes a motion. Can I get a second? Bev with the second. Just a little slow on the buzzer, Linda. Is there any further discussion on that topic, Mr. Merrill, Mr. Williams, stipend?
I just wanted to say that I think they've done an awesome job, and I think that's something, what they did made it special for those kids, and I'm sure the parents will treasure that.
Yeah.
So thanks to Phil and Brian for all their work.
Yeah, but it was a very well done production. All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye, okay, motion carries 4-0. Next item there is the approval of the 2021 evaluation plan. Just the biggest change here, just so the board understands, is that they've removed the language, or removing the language as far as growth data for teachers, because there's not going to be growth since they didn't take the iLearn last spring. So that's the biggest change to our evaluation plan for 2021. So if I can get a motion to approve that plan. Linda's got her hand on the buzzer first. Second, Wendy with the second. Any discussion on the evaluation plan? All right. All those in favor say aye. All right. Thank you, ladies. Next item is the teacher appreciation grant policy, and this just has to be approved annually. Same policy we've had, no changes here. But again, it just has to be approved annually as the state prepares to push out that teacher appreciation grant money. Don't know what that's going to be until probably mid-October. We'll start to get an idea, and then we'll approve those amounts, hopefully at the October meeting, if not at the November meeting. We always have a goal to try to get those funds in our employees' hands before Christmas. So if I can get a motion to approve the teacher appreciation grant policy. Wendy with the motion, second. I'm going to give that to Rhonda. Rhonda's on the move, and she got it. Okay. Any discussion? All right. All those in favor say aye. Motion carries. Next item here is a project that we're super excited about. We shared the last board meeting about the GEARS Act grant that we received, $120,000. That is going to go towards a broadband tower project. And just an update for the board and the community. We've kind of gotten in on the work that the county has done. If you don't know, the county is in the process of putting up broadband towers throughout the county to provide broadband, low-cost, high-speed internet to our families. So what we've done is we've kind of piggybacked on that, and they've went through all the bid process and everything for us, and we won't have to go through the bidding, which is nice since they're a government entity. But our goal in this broadband project, just real simple for the community, is to push out the school's internet to our students that need it at no cost. That's bottom line, was we're trying to eliminate any hurdles our students have at home. So what I'm asking for from the board tonight is just for us to move forward with the planning process of the broadband tower, and we will come back with more plans. But I really wanted to get kind of your blessing on moving forward with the project, and I'm hoping in October I come back with plans on, okay, this is where we want to have it located, this is the process, and probably have the engineers join us to share a little more information. But if I could get a motion just to get that project started, I would appreciate it. All right, Wendy with the motion. Can I get a second? Linda with the second. Okay. Is there any discussion or questions from the board on that project? Nope. Seeing none. Okay. All those in favor say aye. All right. carry that motion 3-0. Oh, Rhonda's back. Okay, the last item there is the approval of the Neola policies. We went over the first reading in August. We just needed approval of the Neola policies, volume 32, number 2. Is there any discussion from the board before we take a motion to approve? Nope. I think Linda's making a motion to approve. Can I get a second? Okay, Wendy with the second. All right. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Okay, that carries 4-0. All right, next item on your agenda is just budget reports. I was able to get that done for the board. With us moving to the free lunch program, we had a little bit of slowdown in getting that done, but the short end of it is financially, we're right where we should be at this point, 8 months into the calendar year. So very happy with where we're at. The board also got the athletic ledger. And with us have some limited crowds, I think Mike has been able to manage his budget and keep it together pretty well so far. We're really worried about that. We remain worried about that because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. If you lose a football game or a volleyball game, that can impact his budget pretty quickly. But overall, our reports are in really good shape for the month of August. Is there any questions or comments from the board? Excellent. Okay, well, we'll move on to comments. I know we've got some corporation staff members on board. Does anybody have any comments? Want to unmute your mic and share anything?
I just wanted to thank you and Neil for looking into that field trip closely, and to clarify that that I'm not concerned about bringing kids back in full time as much as just those that may be struggling with the virtual part on their off days, to just, if they can't, just doesn't work out well for them, then just to bring those few students in full time. And, I don't think that would hurt our numbers too much. So, but that's what I wanted to clarify. But thank you for Northside and the high school, junior, senior high, for their presentations.
Absolutely. Thank you, Wendy, for clarifying. And I'll just kind of close with a comment. Just for me, obviously, this is a virtual setting. I'm being very open and honest, transparent. Yes, I tested positive for COVID. And I'm being honest because I don't want rumors to run rampant. You see me, I feel fine. I'm happy, I'm healthy. My family's healthy and fine. We just pray that we just continue to stay that way and we can get back to normal. And just to let everybody know, the central office is closed currently until we can run through some more testing and make sure everybody's clear there too as well. But that's just an update on that end, because I know that message went out today on social media, and just clear up any questions or concerns that the community may have concerning my health and the health of the school. So are there any further comments from the board? Okay, just a reminder to the public and the board that our next meeting, actually we're having our budget hearing next Thursday. We will plan to do that virtually as well. So we will hold our budget hearing virtually next Thursday at 5 o'clock. And our next regular scheduled board meeting is October 22nd, which is right after fall break. With that being said, if I can get a motion to adjourn. Wendy, throwing that hand up. Second. Bev, all right, ladies, thank you so much. You all have a wonderful evening. Those that joined us, thank you so much for your time, and everybody have a good evening.